joining me now is Steve Brown, the CEO of Matchstick Ignite. How are you doing today?
Well, I mean, it's day 2 of the show, so I'm surviving, but doing really great. One thing I love about Affiliate Summit is, one, just reconnecting with old partners and friends and vendors, everybody you see at all these shows, and of course, building new relationships. So sometimes that takes a lot of margaritas and other kind of beverages late at night.
Hey, networking whenever you can, right?
Yeah, we live a hustle lifestyle, and it definitely shows when we come out and play.
Definitely, I agree with that a lot. So can you just tell us a little bit about Matchstick Ignite?
So I founded Matchstick Ignite a little over a year ago. And prior to that, I was operating a call center, helping out direct response kind of offers. And I really just felt that the industry really needed, that advocate, the person who knows all this stuff up and down, that can actually be on the side of the advertiser to make sure that they're not entering contracts that are terrible, or working with people who really aren't the best fit for them. For example, someone may be really great at doing nutraceuticals as far as the sales, but if you try to do a biz op offer, it's not going to probably work.
Right.
It's just a different thing. It's a different team. So always just finding that perfect fit is really what I'm doing.
So that's what you do. You help connect advertising networks with the right fit of affiliates for them.
Yeah, and I stay on and I hold the call center accountable. So I basically have weekly calls on behalf of the advertiser, secret shopper calls, because really you need to know what you're buying.
Right.
I think a lot of people just get the invoice, they get grumpy about it, and pay it. But let's take a look at those numbers. Why is it, if you're being billed per minute, why, just because you had someone on hold for 12 minutes for a supervisor, why am I paying for that?
Yeah.
So it's kind of asking the tough questions as well.
Oh, okay. So what is that like then sometimes?
I'm a very positive person, if you guys know me. I definitely don't feel I'm threatening. But I really, when of course, as an advocate, I'm going to be on behalf of the advertisers 100%. But I approach the call centers like this. I'm here to help all of us be better.
Right.
So I really want you to hear what I have to say, and let's try some things. Because ultimately, if I can turn this around for you, you can use this as like a white sheet, and you can go get more business as a result of what we're doing right here. So I think it helps really both parties. And for the call center, they're not even really paying for that. They just have to have the weekly call with me.
Okay. So yeah, you just want to make it a win-win for everybody.
Exactly. I mean, we all in this industry need to strive better to, do things, I feel like, the absolute right way. And the reason we do that is not so much, I wouldn't even say it's an ethical decision. It's long-term smart business. If you can have a brand that's running consistently, that you have customers that enjoy the product, that's going to be your lifeblood. You may not have to rely on so much traffic because you've got this just base of people who love your product and love your team.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, can you shed some light on your background in the industry as a whole? Like, how did you get your start?
So customer service has really been my life. Prior to coming into this crazy rodeo of an industry, I was in prescription benefit, insurance. If that sounds any less boring, let me know. But I did that for over a decade. I mean, I took phone calls that were horrible, like, why aren't you covering my daughter's medication? She can't breathe. It's 2 a.m. That's not a fun call to take. So I needed to find somewhere where I could go, and there was an opportunity that came. It was a local businessman, and he was building a supplement line, and he needed customer service to represent that brand because he didn't want to outsource it. It was important to him. So he brought me on, and I managed that team, and that's where we started really getting connected with using the marketing to build a whole kind of almost like kind of that snow globe bowl, the snow globe kind of scenario, to where from the start that they get the email perhaps, or maybe they're clicking on a link on some social, from the time that they view your web page to the time that they check out, it's a whole customer experience. So we fine-tuned that process to make revenue and save sales, and of course prevent chargebacks from happening. Did such an amazing job that kind of word got around that we were doing something special. So there was other advertisers who wanted to utilize the services.
Okay.
So it just made complete sense to just go ahead and form a new LLC and have a call center go. And built that up to almost 100 seats, and then exited the company And now I'm just representing everybody kind of on a one-to-one level, kind of giving that special magic we did back in the day. But I feel just at a more, direct to help you kind of approach.
So it sounds like things started kind of organically almost.
I think so. I mean, I feel tripped into this industry. I honestly remember coming to my first affiliate summit and just being absolutely dead scared to even talk to anybody. I'd be the type of person who'd have to go to the VIP lounge and have like 2 drinks, just to feel confident enough to go talk to someone who I've never met.
Some liquid courage.
Yeah, and today I now record videos and put them on Facebook and throw myself out there, and it's just an evolution of me in a way, but I think you just kind of have to find that part of yourself,
Right.
whatever you're doing.
I do feel in this industry, you got to be social. You got to talk to people. It's very big on the networking. It is about the social connections, and that's a lot of the business results from that.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to a lot of people like to deal with people who they know, like, and trust, and that's what I always strive to, fit those kind of parameters.
It's a great way to put it. So for those who are just getting started in this industry, what would be the best piece of advice you could offer them?
Have patience. I think it's easy to get mesmerized by some of the money that happens here, that some of the lifestyles that you see portrayed on maybe Facebook. So it's kind of you can sometimes fall into that trap of kind of the grass is greener and you should be further along than you are. But know that, in most cases, a lot of these individuals didn't have just immediate success. They probably had a lot of failures. So have those failures, learn from them, try not to replicate them again.
Right.
And, just keep pushing on. And as long as you are always who you're going to be and you're genuine, your reputation will then become known. And then it's going to become easier to actually conduct new business because you've done all that hard work leading up to it. So I guess just persistence, patience, and just be a good person.
I think that's great words to live by in general.
Yeah.
Persistence, patience, and be a good person. And now we just closed out a decade and we are in a new year, 2020. What do you think are going to be the biggest opportunities for this year?
I think it's just I think that the new year and new decade, I think it's just get a renewed interest and people ready to go. I think a lot of us are very goal oriented, so we just look at this as a clean slate. The 2010s are over, so I'm just trying to ride that momentum with everyone as of right now.
Right.
But I think as far as trends, I think it's going to get a little more difficult to do some of the things we've done in the past. So it's just going to take adapting.
Because of regulations?
Yeah,
or?
like regulations or just, some people really rely on Facebook as far as their media and they're tightening that down because in my opinion, I use a UFC kind of example. Back in the day, UFC, their sponsors were like condomdepot.com and like all this kind of wild stuff. And now it's like Budweiser and like, Ford trucks and, Facebook essentially, I think, wants to be television to where they want their ads to just be those bigger, huge brands with companies with massive budgets who kind of don't care because they're just throwing out the money to get the branding.
Right.
So to be able to not have to deal with, the supplements and all that kind of stuff, I just feel it's going to shift there for sure. So it's just going to take more creativity, and we are a creative industry, and that's why I always know that there will always be a way found, and it's just because it's really great people.
I would agree with that. There'll always be a new way that someone discovers. People, this industry is always evolving, adapting to the changes of the times. That's some pretty good insight for our viewers out there. And now, lastly, for anyone out there that's interested in working with Matchstick Ignite and potentially working with you, how can they best reach out? Where can they find you online?
Really the best way is if you just go to my website. It's matchstickignite.com. At the very bottom at the contact us, you can actually schedule a Calendly meeting right there, and we can start talking.
All right. Steve Brown, CEO of Matchstick Ignite. You got to hit him up. Eddie Gran, OfferVault News. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Great interview.
Thanks.
Appreciate the time.